Before I moved to Richmond, Virginia, I lived in the Portland, Vancouver, Washington area. So Portland, Oregon, Vancouver, Washington, completely different from Richmond, Virginia. Lovely in its own right. Before that, I lived in California, then I lived in Pennsylvania, then I lived in Idaho, then I lived in Pennsylvania. So I've lived other places in the world, not just Richmond, Virginia. You wouldn't think it would be a big deal, but it was a huge deal coming from the West Coast. The weather. We have all 4 seasons, and humidity was a big deal. The first summer that I moved from the Portland, Oregon area to Richmond, I thought I might die. I thought I might die. I was showing houses one day and I went inside they have these like sun porches in Richmond. Went inside a sun porch, there was no screens. I tried to open the door, the lock wouldn't work. I literally almost suffocated to death because of the sheer humidity of Richmond. Now the good thing, you're not going to die. You do get used to it. Something happens to your blood when you live at someplace different where things kind of even out. Now, it doesn't really bother me. Is it hot in the summer? Yeah. Is it cold in the winter? It maybe snows once or twice, right? No big deal. But you do have all 4 seasons, which I think is great. I realize we are in the century that we are in, but if you live outside the major highway systems of Richmond, you might want to check the kind of internet that is available to you. I want you to know that they are currently working on it. But where I live, which is the west side of Richmond, I do not have high-speed internet. I know, the YouTube queen does not have high-speed internet. So what do you do instead? Well, when you're searching for a house in Richmond, I want to ask you the question, is that going to be a problem for you? Do you need to work from home and do Zoom calls all day long? If so, we're going to need to put you in a place that has the kind of internet that you need. Now, they do have maps available on the internet that you can see, does this house, does that house, does this house. There's also satellite internet. There's also Elon Musk that has the special internet that I know works. I have people that have the kind that have RVs, you know, the kind of satellite for that. That they just put in the front yard and it works for them. So there's ways to get around it. I just want you to be aware of it. The schools in Richmond, you have lots of choices. When I moved here, in my mind, where you lived is where you went to school. The end. So I was really careful in my own decision of where I wanted to live based on what the school district was. What I didn't know was you might have some options. There's all kinds of private options, all kinds of Montessori options, and then the public school options. If you don't like where you live, you might be able to pay to go to another school district. Or, for instance, Chesterfield, they have different high schools based on what your child is interested in that you have access to, that might not be the high school that's right behind you. So I want you to do a little more research than maybe you would think, based on where you want to live, to see if the options are available to you. I lived in California in the Bay Area, and I lived in Portland. Now in Portland and California, the Bay Area, there's lots of bridges, and the bridges make for a lot of traffic. So I was used to sitting in traffic 1 to 2 to 3 hours a day. When you take that out of your daily life, you are going to be amazed what you can do with those 1 to 2 to 3 hours. Amazing things will happen. Now, is there some traffic in Richmond? Yeah, if you go towards downtown in Richmond, there's 95, the highway, and there is some congestion on that highway. Is it a death trap? I don't know. If I don't have to drive on 95, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go a different way. But the other highways, the other roads, is it going to take you 20 minutes to get somewhere in town? Yeah, but only because that's how far away it is. Not because you're sitting in bumper to bumper traffic. It's a beautiful thing about Richmond. It might be one of my favorite things, frankly. It's not a high entertainment city. That being said, it does have great food. It does have a light nightlife, great bars, but do they close at midnight? Maybe. I mean, it's just, you know, it's not a major city. It's just a nice city. Am I happy that I moved to Richmond, Virginia? Yeah, I really am. Compared to maybe the other major cities I've lived in, the traffic that's not here really changed my life forever. The ability to live somewhere that I still had access to everything but still can live on major acreage at a price point that I can afford has changed my life and my daughter's life and my husband's life. I have chickens in my backyard, 25 chickens. I wasn't able to have that when I lived in, Vancouver, Washington. So you're going to have opportunities here in Richmond that you may not currently have where you're living. If you're thinking about moving here, I encourage you to reach out to me because I've made this move before and I can make it easier for you.